Greetings. Today, we will tell you about the mysterious disappearance of a girl named Natascha Kampusch. Together, we will try to penetrate the mysteries of the past and open the veil of unsolved events. The story of Natascha Kampusch is one of the most famous cases of child abduction, and the events of the terrible years spent in captivity have attracted considerable attention and interest, becoming the basis for many books and movies, including the sensational movie 3096. Austrian girl Natascha was only 10 years old when her life was divided into before and after. On March 2nd, 1998, Kampusch, as usual, went to school, but did not return home. When Natascha's mother began to worry, 2 witnesses were found who saw the girl being forcibly put into a white van by a man, but this information did little to help the investigation. Police questioned more than 500 potential suspects, among whom, incidentally, was the real perpetrator of the kidnapping, but the evidence for the prosecution was not found. Moreover, many detectives suspected of involvement in the crime Natascha's mother, Bridget Cerny. According to some reports, the girl grew up in a dysfunctional family and her mother allegedly mistreated her. However, the version about the involvement of the mother turned out to be untenable. In fact, Natascha's abductor was Wolfgang Priklopil, who intercepted the girl on her way to school, brought her to his home and imprisoned her in the basement, which his grandfather had built as a bomb shelter. In this tiny room, Kampusch spent more than 8 years. During the first years of captivity, she was not even allowed to leave the confines of her cell, spending her days within the 4 walls and enduring daily beatings from Priklopil. After a while, the man began to allow Natascha to walk in the garden and eventually even took her to a ski resort in Vienna. However, the girl never had the opportunity to escape. It was not until 2006 that Natascha had a chance to escape. On August 23rd, Priklopil assigned her to clean his car. When Natascha turned on the vacuum cleaner to clean the interior of the car, Wolfgang was distracted by a phone call. Natascha left the vacuum cleaner on and took the opportunity to hide. After going around several neighbouring houses, she reached the house of her 71-year-old neighbour Inga, who immediately called the police. Natascha was identified and Priklopil himself, realising that his captive had escaped, committed suicide. According to Kampusch, he often thought about what would happen if the police found out about his crime, and each time he repeated the same phrase, "I will never be caught alive." Natascha's condition by the time of her release was satisfactory. Although her body showed signs of beatings, she was very thin, but not emaciated, and, most importantly, had not lost her ability to communicate normally. Her psychological state was within normal limits. Nevertheless, the years of captivity left an indelible mark on Natascha's life. After her release, Kampusch periodically confused her statements, sometimes defending the perpetrator and even expressing sympathy for him. In addition, Natascha refused to divulge details of her conclusion, leaving the perpetrator's motives still unknown to this day. "I do not want and will not answer questions about personal or intimate details of my life," Kampusch has repeatedly said in interviews. She once said that she does not consider herself to have missed out on anything in life. "I did not fall into bad company. I did not get addicted to cigarettes, alcohol and drugs, as my peers often do." Today, Natascha Kampusch has managed to rebuild her life. She is passionate about art, actively participates in charity work, donates money to organizations fighting violence. She even became the host of her own show, Natascha Kampusch Trifft. In 2010, she co-authored an autobiography, 3096 Days, with several journalists. In 2016, Kampusch bought the house where she had been held captive for 8 years from her kidnapper, and before that, Natascha had unsuccessfully sued for ownership of the property with the mother of the deceased Priklopil for several years. Psychologists suggest that this act was an attempt to cope with psychological trauma. Buying a house linked to her traumatic memories could have been a way for her to take control of her past and move on.